This was announced back when Rangers of the New Republic was a dream that was going to happen. It was when Ahsoka was announced, as well as Star Wars Andor, Obi Wan Kenobi, The Acolyte, the animated Star Wars, Clone Wars spinoff The Bad Batch, Visions. This was all announced at the same time, and we're just now getting an update on the next steps for the project, and I have some thoughts on why they're doing all of this now and what it can mean for the future of the Lando show. Welcome to Star Wars Uplink. Let's jump right in. First off, I have a question for you. Did you actually enjoy Solo? Because that's where I want to start. I want to start with Solo, a Star Wars story. Why did it actually end up underperforming, and what does it look like now that we're getting a spinoff from that underperforming movie? Solo was a very hotly discussed movie. I mean, going into it, I thought it was useless, and why do we need to explain any of this? It's going to complicate things. They recast Han Solo. They kicked off Lord and Miller and replaced them with Ron Howard. They did a bunch of reshoots, and I had a lot of questions around the project. First of all, why? Second of all, how is this going to work? I ended up enjoying the movie, and I really have had a lot of fun with it. I don't take it super seriously, and I think it's a fun romp. I think Alden Ehrenreich as Han Solo was fantastic, and I think if they do more with Han Solo, I want to see Alden Ehrenreich again, because I think he captured the soul of Han Solo and made it his own. But whether or not you actually enjoyed Han Solo, if you hated it, if you loved it, it underperformed and was the reason for Disney and Lucasfilm to really reconsider how they approach Star Wars spin-off movies. I think they took the wrong learning from that. I think they said, oh, spin-off movies don't work. Well, spin-off movies don't work if you don't market them or let people know they're coming out, or hey, release them 6 months after the last thing that you did. But I guess that's just my thoughts there. What do I know? But even in spite of all of that, everyone agreed that Donald Glover as Lando Calrissian was the best introduction. He perfectly captured the character and channeled that young Billy D. Williams energy. I mean, he is Lando Calrissian. He is suave, he is well-dressed, he is enigmatic, he is a swindler, and he just really embodies the role that Lando Calrissian in those younger days are supposed to be. Originally, when it was announced in December of 2020, I believe it was, Justin Simien was going to take over the development of the project and do the writing of the project. And Donald Glover was going to reprise his role as playing Lando Calrissian. Now, more recently, we've heard a lot from Justin Simien when it comes to his involvement in the Lando series. His involvement is very complicated recently, so he is doing the project with the new Haunted Mansion, the new one. And that's what took most of his time. But because he's doing all of this, he's going around the rounds and jumping on podcasts, having interviews with different news outlets, and generally just talking about a variety of things. But something he's been dropping in hints of is his involvement with the Lando series. And he said, I haven't heard anything in 3 years. And he said this a few times now. And it wasn't until very recently that we now know why he's been saying this. He's been pushing Disney, Lucasfilm, all of those people to say, hey, we actually dropped him from the project, and now the Glover brothers are going to head the project. I don't know why, but this is what I remembered was going to happen. Donald Glover and his brother are very well known for their skills in directing and writing. They did the incredible series Atlanta. More recently, they're doing the Swarm TV show that's coming out on Amazon Prime. And they're just generally super creative and super talented. It's amazing to see a brother duo like that. But we didn't know until very recently that this was actually happening. The Hollywood Reporter was the one that broke the news, and they say they're working together to pin the new Disney Plus Lando series. And this was in May when they made the decision. So this is before the writer's strike. Obviously, now that the writer's strike is happening, it is going to be delayed further until, the huge corporations making hundreds of millions of dollars, maybe even billions of dollars, pay people well. But in terms of how Justin Simien is reacting to this is what his quote says. The last thing I was told was that they loved it, but needed to put a pin in it until they could figure out everybody's availability. I haven't investigated it further, but I'm not an idiot. I'm not alone in that experience, but I can't help but wonder, am I too black? Am I too queer? And people just don't want to say that because it seems like I develop things with these companies and they just never happen for reasons unknown. I think the roughest part is that Justin Simien found out the news through social media. And he did a post, and he was actually really complimentary towards Donald Glover around this. And this is what he says in terms of the news specifically. Donald is a national hero. Glad he and Steven get to carry the character forward their way. Can't wait to see rooting for everybody black. I think it's a shame, but I also think it's a fair decision to be made. Donald Glover really owns the character of Lando Calrissian, and he did the research. He constantly had meetings with Billy D. Williams around the character and just really got to understand his role and added a lot to the character, even behind the scenes when it comes to the creation of the story. And like I said, he is so talented in all manner of aspects of things. Definitely the epitome of a multi-hyphenate, for sure. So the fact that Justin Simeon's out and Donald Glover and his brother Steven are in, I think is fair. I think it's exciting, really, to see this like full rounded character, and hopefully they can make something really new. I feel like Lando as a character is almost like the even more like scoundrelly version of Indiana Jones in Star Wars. Like obviously Han Solo and Indiana Jones share the same actor, but I feel like the epitome of Indiana Jones in Star Wars is Lando Calrissian. The whole journal entries that he has around his escapades is perfect, and I feel like we may get a lot of that in this series and this character exploration. It does make me wonder what direction the story is going to be headed in. The original series by Justin Simeon seemed to draw a lot of the inspiration around the journal log type thing and have these moments and have like little mini stories told throughout the whole season. And I wonder, now that Donald and his brother are working on it, if that's going to change focus. I could totally see it being more of like an overall story throughout the whole mini series than it was before. And honestly, I'm super happy about that. I think it would make sense to have like these bigger overarching like story told through the entire season type thing. When I hear miniseries, I do question a little bit, because our other example of this is Obi-Wan, and I did not enjoy Obi-Wan in the slightest. I mean, it had some moments that were pretty cool, but like in general, the filmmaking aspect I did not enjoy. And I know Lando with Donald Glover involved is going to be way better on that front. And I think just the story, having it gone through so many levels that the Obi Wan Kenobi series did, I hope that this Lando show doesn't have the same kind of story arc through there. And I don't think, because of how early this is and how much time that they're going to probably be working on it, as well as just like having ideas sitting in the background and where they could go, and them being brothers and having worked together so much in the past, I feel like they're going to give this character the respect and journey that he deserves. And I mean, Donald Glover already enjoys the character so well. He said in an interview that he's looking for things that he doesn't want to waste his time on. And he feels like Lando as a show is something that he can really bring something special to. And he's already done incredible things that I've loved. So I'm totally on board to see what more he can do in the Star Wars galaxy. But let me know your thoughts on this. What did you think about this whole news debacle and the controversy around this kind of like restructuring around the show? And again, did you enjoy Solo? Let me know in the comments below. As always, hey, check out our podcast, and may the Force be with you.